Hello everyone, welcome to the Driving Under the Influence chapter. In the next 4 lessons, you will learn the essential DUI terminology in Spanish, which includes, of course, alcohol intoxication symptoms, field sobriety test, and more. Ultimately, by the end of this chapter, you will be able to sit down with a defendant and go over a probable cause report in Spanish. Now, how are we going to accomplish that? Well, in Lesson 1, we will review the DUI terminology. In Lesson 2, we will cover sentence building, so you can learn how to put together sentences such as the driver had slurred speech, red watery eyes, the officer administered the field sobriety test, and more. In Lesson 3, we will cover verb conjugation in past tense, and in Lesson 4, we will put it all together in a probable cause report. Sound good? Are you ready? Let's begin. Here's term number 1, driving under the influence. In Spanish, that would be manejar bajo los efectos. Manejar bajo los efectos. Driving, manejar, under, bajo, the, los, influence, efectos. Manejar bajo los efectos. Now, maybe some of you know that the word influence can also be translated into Spanish as influencia. Influencia. And therefore you are probably wondering, hey, why don't we say manejar bajo la influencia instead of manejar bajo los efectos? Well, influencia in Spanish means that a person has an influence or a power over another person. But when we are attempting to describe that a substance has an influence over an individual, in Spanish we use the term efectos. Because in Spanish, a substance cannot have an influence over a person. It may have an effect, but not an influence. And that's why we use the term manejar bajo los efectos. Term number 2, alcohol intoxication. In Spanish, that would be ebriedad. Ebriedad. Alcohol intoxication, ebriedad. Term number 3, blood alcohol content. Blood alcohol content. In Spanish, nivel de alcohol en la sangre. Nivel de alcohol en la sangre. Now you're probably thinking, well, this does not add up. In English, we only have 3 words. That is correct. In Spanish, it is really saying level of alcohol within the blood. Level of alcohol within the blood. And that is due to the differences in grammatical structures or requirements in each language. So in Spanish, again, blood alcohol content, nivel de alcohol en la sangre. Number 4, breathalyzer. In Spanish, that would be alcoholímetro. Alcoholímetro. Now, this is a composed word. Metro is from the word meter, or meter measuring device, and alcoholí from alcohol. So the word is actually saying alcohol measuring device. Alcoholímetro. Breathalyzer. Alcoholímetro. Now, let's take a look at symptoms of alcohol intoxication. First of all, in Spanish, symptoms of alcohol intoxication would be síntomas de alcohol intoxication, ebriedad. Síntomas de ebriedad. Number 1, red watery eyes. In Spanish, that would be ojos rojos y llorosos. Ojos rojos y llorosos. Ojos, eyes, rojos, red, y, and llorosos, watery. Ojos rojos y llorosos. Number 2, alcohol odor. Alcohol odor. In Spanish, that is olor a alcohol. Olor a alcohol. Number 3, slurred speech. In Spanish, that is dificultad para hablar. Dificultad para hablar. Now, maybe some of you caught that dificultad para hablar really says difficulty speaking. You are correct. That is another way of saying slurred speech. In Spanish, we can also say hablar arrastrado. Hablar arrastrado. And it's another way of saying slurred speech. Nonetheless, considering all the terms that we are working with in this chapter, and the fact that I only want to teach you one grammatical structure to make it easier on you, I rather use difficulty speaking, which states the same thing as hablar arrastrado, and which uses the same grammatical structure as the rest of the terms. If we use hablar arrastrado instead of dificultad para hablar, we would have to work with two grammatical structures. So, for practical purposes, I rather use dificultad para hablar to teach you the DUI essentials. Number 4, alcohol breath. In Spanish, that is aliento a alcohol. Aliento a alcohol. Aliento, breath, a of alcohol, alcohol. Aliento a alcohol, alcohol breath. Now, field sobriety test. Field sobriety test. In Spanish, that would be pruebas de sobriedad en el campo. Pruebas de sobriedad en el campo. Now, pruebas de sobriedad en el campo is really saying, if we translate it word by word, test of sobriety in the field. Pruebas de sobriedad en el campo. Number 1, breath test. In Spanish, prueba de aliento. Prueba de aliento. Quick note. Preposition de is a descriptive preposition. Its function is to state the type of test we are talking about. In this case, when we say prueba, in Spanish we have to follow up with the description of that prueba, of that test. So preposition de, what it does is tells you, well, this kind of test is of the breath kind. That is one use for preposition de. So again, breath test, prueba de aliento. Prueba de aliento. Number 2, walk and turn test. In Spanish, prueba de caminar y girar. Prueba de caminar y girar. Caminar, walk, y, and, girar, turn. Caminar y girar. Number 3, blood test. Blood test. In Spanish, prueba de sangre. Prueba de sangre. Sangre, blood. Number 4, horizontal gaze nystagmus test. In Spanish would be prueba de mirada horizontal nystagmus. Again, prueba de mirada horizontal nystagmus. Very well, that is all for this first lesson. You have a lot on your plate, so make sure you try and learn as many terms as possible before you get to the next lesson. Remember, you have available your worksheet so you can practice what you've learned today, and also the audio track so you can improve your listening skills and your pronunciation. So that is all for now. See you in the next lesson.